get back to this. Here we go. Okay. So, as we said, we're muting all callers. If you have a question throughout the presentation, orientation, just send that through the chat feature, and then what we'll do is we'll take a break kind of between each section to address any questions that won't be covered like later, in case we can just kind of wrap them up tidy in a group. And then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end for everyone, and then we'll unmute everybody, so then you can verbally ask questions that might not have been covered, and that could benefit other judges on the webinar as well. So I'm Nicole Kuhn. I am a meeting and event manager here at Housing First Minnesota and manage all the awards. And then Emily is in the room too, and she is moderating the webinar, so she's going to be looking at the chat feature. So that's who's here with us today. So quick agenda for the orientation. I don't know that it will take any longer than till about 9:30 or so. It just depends on how many questions we have. So our agenda for the day is we're going to just talk about general information, guidebook options, some noteworthy items, the judge packet, the final checklist, how we're going to get you all the judging information, how the awards are going to be given out, and then we'll get to Q&A. So just general information about judging. The general judging hours are the Parade of Homes hours. So this is the first weekend of judging. The parade starts on Saturday, so you can judge Saturday, Sunday, and then you have the next few weekends, Thursday through Sunday. It will be noted on the score sheet if an entry is available to judge outside of parade hours. So we'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And if you've judged the past 2 falls, basically the entry forms are pretty identical, so should be pretty familiar to you. So when you arrive at a home, please go ahead and introduce yourself to whoever the builder rep is working the model or home, and have them sign your verification. So just saying that you were at the home, that you signed in, and that we have that kind of historical record of your attendance at that home as a judge. Now, and since we're doing judging packets all digitally, we, instead of having name tags for you to wear, we did create a judge certificate. It's an 8.5 by 11, so if you want to print that out and bring it with you, you certainly can. And that's included in your packet as well, too. So a best practice tip from other judges has been to take photos, and as long as you're introducing yourself to the builder rep when you arrive, it should be fine. I know a lot of homes may say no photography allowed, but if you're going to be referencing it back later to adjust your scoring if you need to, they should be fine with that. But just respect their wishes as well, too, and just take better notes than if you're not able to take photos. So one idea is to, when you arrive at the home, take a photo of the yard sign from the street that includes the sign number, so then that way you know any photos that come after that are related to that home. And then also be sure that you walk around the entire house, check out the inside and the outside, and then all of the rooms too, if even if the basement's not finished. So as far as guidebooks, they are available at holiday station stores around the metro area, so you can always pick one up if you want a digital copy. We also have guidebooks at the Housing First Minnesota office. And then an additional thing as well, too, this year is we have the Parade of Homes app. So you can search Parade of Homes, search the Parade of Homes Minnesota in the App Store or Google Play, and then a great feature with that is you can enter homes, create your own tour, so if you kind of want to map out your route, the app might be a really good feature for you. All right, so a couple things about how we set up pricing and things of that nature for the competition this year. The Parade of Homes price is the price that was used to assign the entry to the judging category. So if you were a past judge a couple years ago, we excluded the price of the lot, so that has changed if you're a newer judge. And so the parade price that's listed in the guidebook is the price of the home that we use to assign the category. And then we have categories by price for single-family builders, so it's by production. So basically builders that produce 1 to 49 homes a year, and then builders that produce 50-plus homes a year. So there's categories for each. So there might be, 2 different categories for, 600 to 700,000. Now, if you've also judged in the past, one thing that's changed the last couple of years is that we don't have a selection meeting with the other judges in your judging group. So you really won't know who the other judges are. You just judge on your own, you evaluate the homes, and then send the score sheets into staff. So there's not a deliberation. It's really the scores produce the results and who the recipient will be. And then if you've also judged in the past, the entry form and judging materials was like 6 to 10 pages of an entry form, and so this is much more simplified. There's only one scoring sheet where you rate the homes on 10 different areas with scores that range from 1 to 10. And then there may be some categories where there's only one entry in it, and that entry will still compete. So the highest scoring entry in the category receives the Reggie as long as it receives at least 75% of the points possible. So let's say there is only one home in a category, then they have to get the 75% of the points possible to receive the Reggie. And then in the instance of a tie, the tiebreaker will be the overall impression score. And if you're not able to commit to judging, please find a replacement to do that and then notify me or Emily immediately. One thing is that in the past I had a judge where they weren't able to view all the homes. They had something come up and timing issues, and so they had another colleague go finish the judging for them, and we weren't able to use their scores because the judging needs to be viewed by the same individual, just because people have different philosophies or weight certain things differently than else. So just trying to keep it as fair as possible and have as much integrity as possible, because I think if they were evaluating your category, if you had an entry, you would want that fairness for yourself. So you do need to view all the entries in your category for your scores to be used. So if something comes up, sometimes, there's travel or work gets crazy, just, try and find a replacement that can do all of the scoring and then get the score sheets in and just let staff know. Sometimes there's been deaths in judges' families, and obviously, things happen, and we're understanding to that. So just let us know. Because a lot of times, too, I might get calls from a builder saying that, as far as they know, they've only had one judge come through or two. So it's just, they're kind of keeping tabs on it as well. All right. Are there any questions in the chat as far as that stuff? Okay, we'll just keep going on then. So in the judging packet, you're going to have a confidentiality agreement, your judge certificate, a verification sheet, the evaluation sheets. And then if you need to print anything, please do that on your own. We're just trying something new this year with going digital. So if you do need something printed and you don't have access to a printer, just let us know. We can print that for you, and then you can come to the office and pick it up. All right, so the confidentiality agreement, we really won't get into it here, but it basically states that you're not just going to disclose anything about the judging process with anyone unless you're required to do so legally or by mandated from the board. And then, two, just know that all of the materials are property of Housing First Minnesota, and so that we ask that you don't retain or keep anything that either you photograph or comment on. Just that once you send in your scores and we receive confirmation back from us that you sent them in, then please destroy those awards details. So there is a sample of what the confidentiality agreement looks like. It will identify your group, judging group, which is they're alphabetical, so A, B, C, D, E, et cetera. It's going to list what your production and category prices are. So like this one, single family builder builds 1 through 49 homes, the 700 up to 800,000 price point. So this judging group has 3 different price categories. And so there, you can see there's a couple that just have one entry in it, and then another grouping that has additional entries. So it's broken out by category and then what entries are located within that category. And then if you could just sign this, print and sign, and then you can return this with your score sheets at the end. You don't need to send it to us right away. So now we have the judge certificate. This is editable PDF. So if you have Adobe Acrobat, you should be able to just go in and type your name in there. And then if not and you want one, just let us know. If you only have Adobe Reader, we can create one for you. And then you can feel free to print that if you would like. So now the judge verification sheet, this is what we have you have the builder rep sign off on when you enter the home. And so there's kind of a set of information with the builder, the Parade of Homes number, the date, the time, and then a spot for the builder rep to sign and date. So I would suggest, before you enter the home, like when you park, just enter that, the first bits of information, the builder name, the Parade of Homes number, and then the date, and then you can let them put in the time when they sign off on it. And then, sorry, my PowerPoint just keeps jumping all over the place. Whoop. This is awesome. So you don't need to go in any particular order as far as like how you view and score the homes. You don't have to, if you have more than one category, you can judge them geographically if that's easiest. So you don't need to go in order on this verification sheet at all. So now the evaluation sheets, it's going to note the builder's name, the property address of the Reggie, and then if there's a contact that was supplied at the time of the entry for the Reggie home, it'll be listed right below with their phone number and email. And then if they indicated that the home was available for judging outside of parade hours, you can reach out to this individual to schedule something, either a lockbox or if it's a model, what the model hours are, or if they're going to meet you at the property at a certain time. And if they did not leave a contact for the Reggie home but still indicate you could judge during parade hours or outside of parade hours, then just contact the phone number that's either listed in the guidebook or listed on the home in the app, and just reach out, let them know you're a judge and that you want to schedule something outside of parade hours. It also has the home price, so this should be the same price that's listed in the guidebook or on the app. And then if the home has been certified, so this is different than being Green Path energy tested. So if they kind of hit a higher threshold of energy efficiency, then they could receive a certification. So if the home is certified and they told us that it is, that box should be filled out, and then who the organization that certified it was. So then, on the bottom of the first page of the entry form, it'll give you a judging scale on how to rate the home. So 1 to 3 points is poor, 4 to 6 is satisfactory, above average is 7 to 9, and then excellent is 10. And then at the bottom of the first page of the entry, it lists the category and then the price range as well, and then also your judging group. Now, on the back side, well, not back side because it's digital, but on the next page would be all the evaluation criteria. So I'm not going to read through all this since it's already listed on there, but it's 10 different things, and basically you're evaluating the design and craftsmanship of various rooms, how functional is it, some design details, and then kind of the few bigger ones at the end is the overall value of the home, so how much house are you getting for the price, the quality, and then your overall impression. So this is, where it kind of matters if you, let's say, split a judging between you and a colleague, so this would certainly play a factor in consistency. So just wanting to make sure that you, again, see all the homes in your category and notify us if you're not able to do it. So then at the bottom of that page, you'll find a spot for the HERS index. So that's the HERS score. So if a builder informed us what that was, it's located here. And then some of the homes are still being tested, and so scores are kind of rolling in. So if it's there, you can feel free to add the bonus points if you want and total it up. But just note that staff will double check the parade database when we start compiling the scoring once we receive it from all the judges. And so we will handle getting all the bonus points in appropriately so that there's consistency on how that's done. So builders, let's say you're a builder and you're a judge and you have a home in the Reggie competition and you don't have your score yet, you can certainly get that in the Housing First Minnesota staff, and we'll get it registered and logged for you so that it is all there. So you might notice this is the Green Path Energy Efficiency HERS score, and so a lot of builders will post this in a mechanical room. Basically, it looks like this, and the score is like golf, so the lower the score, the better. So if you're curious more about how all that is available or need more information about it, you can always check out Minnesota Green Path's website for more information on that. All right. Okay, so on the next page of the entry form is a spot for highlights and special features. So here's a sample from one of them. If the builder did not supply any of the information at the time of entry, then this page will be left blank. And so, you know, my suggestion always is to builders, like, write to your audience. So, you know, the judges are fellow industry peers. You're not writing to a consumer. So these are the things that we say, like, call out for a judge. You know, like, let's say, you know, you really had a challenge with, you know, an installation on something, it required a lot of cutting or craftsmanship. Like, note that for the judge so that they can see how awesome it is, other than things that, you know, might be a little more obvious. So anyway, that's just kind of a best practice for, I think, submitting an entry. But yes, and again, if they didn't supply anything, then that page, you know, that section will be left blank. And then if the highlights and special features, like some of the builders did a bulleted list, which is fine, but it might not all fit within that space, so then there would be an additional page. So you might have 4 pages to an entry depending on how much description that they have. All right, are there any questions on kind of the packet? No, everybody's cool, awesome. All right, so final checklist. Just remember to take some photos, write comments and notes. That might be super helpful, and especially too just for staff to kind of support your scores, you know, if something seems out of whack. And then view and judge the entire home. So again, walk around the outside of it, check it out. And then the final checklist, scan and email all your score sheets, the confidentiality agreement, and the verification March 27th by the end of the day. So that's a Friday. So you have, you know, this weekend, 2 full next weekends, and then you have, you know, Thursday, Friday of the 4th weekend to judge. It is pretty time sensitive that you get that information back by the deadline because we have a tight turnaround on compiling and data entering all the scores and getting recipient names for trophy production. So you can send all your judging packet information together, and so you don't need to send your judge confidentiality agreement right away. You can just do it at the end. So these are the sheets that we need, the confidentiality agreement. If yours flows more to 1 page, just send us the signature page. The verification sheet, it might be from 1 to 2 pages, so we would need, you know, that in completion. And then as far as, I'm not sure what's happening with the PowerPoint here. This is awesome. Oh. And then the evaluation sheet for each entry. So I don't need the front page of that. We don't need the highlights and special features. Like, just give us this score sheet. So what you're returning is smaller in size than what you're getting. All right. So now for packet dissemination, Nicole will be sending out an email to each judging group, so then that way you will get your appropriate information. I'm going to send that out today. You should get it by this afternoon, and if you don't, just hit me up and I will resend it to you. And then if you have any questions when you go through it, just holler, let me know. So you'll get those by email. And then we're going to save this webinar too, so if you forget or whatever, you can either call me or you can listen to the webinar again. And then look for an email from me. The subject will be Reggie Judging Packet, Spring 2020. There is a little trophy in there, so hopefully that will be a little bit more noticeable in your inbox with the emoji there. And who doesn't like a little shiny trophy anyway? So the email will include detailed information about what's all included in the packet, what the deadline is, and what needs to be returned, and then contact information for me and Emily. So if you have any questions in the process, you can reach out to us. All right, so do we have any questions? Nope, no questions. Everybody's rock star, apparently, which is awesome. Okay, so award dissemination, what we're going to do is we're going to announce the recipients on April 22nd. I think that is a Wednesday. We're going to do a special announcement. We're still kind of developing that, but right now what we're talking about is maybe doing Facebook Live in the morning, where we'll basically announce all the winners, who the Reggies are, who the Trillium recipients are, and do a Facebook Live of that. But we'll send a notice to all of the entrants just to let them know what's going down there. And then we'll have staff and various committee members dropping off Reggie trophies that day. And then on April 23rd, what we're going to do is we have our monthly happy hour. It's going to be at St. Paul Brewing. So we will have the Trilliums available for pickup at that location. And then if you're not able to make it down, if you're an associate Trillium winner, we will still for sure get your trophies to you. So those will be delivered then. It's just, you know, not quite sure how many recipients we'll have and want to be mindful of resources and time in dropping everything off. So come down, kind of have a beer with your friends, your colleagues, and your partners. And then save the date for the big night. It's going to be Friday, October 23rd. It's going to be at Mystic Lake Center again this year. And then we will have brief recognition at the Big Night 2020 for the spring recipients, but we are encouraging any award entrant, whether it be spring or fall, to attend the Big Night. It's just a fun celebration for the industry. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute, and then if there's any other questions that we didn't cover, now is a great time.
Nicole, I got one question. Brett.
Yeah.
Roughly how many houses will be judged by each judge? Or do we not?
I would say to 7 to 9. But depending on how that shook out, like I know we have one category that has 13 homes in it. So, and then some of the categories have 1 or 2, like a judging group would have multiple of those. So I was trying to get every judging group to be around 6 to 8, ideally. But if there was more than that, you know, split that in half, you know. So if that consistent thing from year to year, like maybe we'll need to look at breaking that price range into a smaller chunk. Yeah.
I got cut out on part of it, and you were talking about which sheets get turned in for the packet. We didn't need to turn everything in. Can you just state that again?
Yep. So it's the Judge Confidentiality Agreement, basically saying you're not going to disclose anything. There's like your sign-in sheet that you have the builder sign off on for each home, so you kind of have a set of that information. It's going to be 1 to 2 pages. And then just the score sheet, the page that you circle for each entry. So I don't need all of those sheets back, just the ones where you circle the scores. Okay. And then when we send out it out by email, like it'll be in detail what we need back and what's all included. So if you forget or didn't write it down, you can just look at the email that you get.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, we're always available. Happy judging. Thanks again. We so appreciate you. And then one thing I forgot to note is that we do give a $100 check after judging is complete to help offset something. Yeah, I know it's probably not enough to certainly cover your time and mileage, but it is, you know, hopefully a way to say thank you, and we appreciate you. So, yeah, if you have any feedback too on how the webinar went, you know, I'd rather do a webinar in the future instead of in-person orientation, just let me know. Or if you like the in-person too, you know, we like to know that also. So, sorry for the technology hiccups with the PowerPoint jumping all over. We'll figure that out. But we, again, thanks for your time and have a great day. Bye, everyone.